Hey everybody, welcome to Crystal Lake in Sayner, Wisconsin. We're going to do a top 10 list about Crystal Lake. Now we're not going to do a top 10 list about camping in general. We're going to specifically focus on Crystal Lake and Muskellunge. Also, stick around because I'm going to give you a tip to get the best campsites on Crystal Lake. Without further ado, let's go find the top 10 things about Crystal Lake.
Crystal Lake. I remember going here as a young child. Back then, it was rumored there was no bottom to the lake, but since then, that's been disproven. I remember pumping our own water and going to McKay's ice cream shop up the road, or sometimes to the ski shows. And back then, they had only pit toilets, but luckily, they have improved those to flushable toilets and hot showers now. I remember grilling on the fire pit and still do to this day. It's one of the treats of going camping. And the wildlife up there is really great. Here we see a crane, but you also can see chipmunks and squirrels. And I remember making new friends when I was a kid, and we'd go on the shoreline at night with our flashlights and search for frogs. Crystal Lake is a very tranquil place. No motorboats are allowed on the lake. That keeps the water clear and the noise level down. And having a campfire at night and my mom playing the guitar when we were a kid is something that's really special. And I've continued that tradition since. Anyway, let's get started. Number 10, wild fruit. Anywhere you go at Crystal Lake, you can find some wild fruit growing. Here we see some blackberries and some raspberries, and I found blueberries up there too. Unfortunately, this was recorded in July, so they're not ripe yet, but in August and September, there's plenty of wild fruit to eat. Always be careful and know what you're eating though. Number 9 is the hiking and biking trails. Wow, these trails have really improved over the years. Now, for the biking trails, you have a smooth, paved surface that you can bike on, and they extend over 30 miles from St. Germain all the way to Manitowash. Fallison Trail is a hiking trail that has an entrance that goes into Crystal Lake, and it's a great trail that you can hike up to 2 miles, or maybe just a half mile if you want to go for a small hike. I don't think there's a single trail around Crystal Lake that I haven't took since I was a kid, and I still take today. Number 8 is the distance between Crystal Lake and Muskellunge Lake. As you can see, here's Crystal Lake, where there's some great swimming and beaches and picnic area. And right across the parking lot, about 300 feet away, is Muskellunge Lake, where you can find some great fishing and boating. Here, when I was a kid, I caught a lot of bluegill and sunfish, and as an adult, I caught a lot of muskie and northern and pike. Also on Muskie Lake, there's an island that you can dock your boat and you can cook up your catch for the day. Number 7 is what I call the secret swamp. I call it the secret swamp because it's a swamp that's literally located 10 feet away from the crystal clear waters of Crystal Lake. Now, this swamp can be found if you go to the first public beach and take a right on the only trail. You'll find a swamp that's approximately 1,000 feet long. In there, you're going to find a lot of swamp creatures, including the frogs, which keep you up at night. Next time you're in Crystal Lake, check out the secret swamp. Number 6 is beach site camping. Oh man, this is one of my favorite things about Crystal Lake, is the fact that you can get a campsite right on the beach. Imagine waking up in the morning, taking a few steps, and diving into the cool, refreshing water of Crystal Lake. Or at night, cooking your dinner around the campfire, or playing songs watching the sunset. And now we're at number 5, the bog. The bog is located a little southeast of Crystal Lake. If you take a couple trails in that direction, you will eventually find it. Now here we're walking out on wooden planks, trying to get to the water's edge. You're going to want to stay on these planks, because a bog is basically a lake that has peat that's growing in towards the center. In that peat is very wet, it's very squishy, and if you step out onto the quote-unquote land that's out there, it could be very dangerous. Now, as I said, the bog is made out of peat, and that causes the water to be very dark. Fish cannot actually survive at the bog because there's a low amount of oxygen in that water. Here we're at the water's edge of the bog. As you can see, it's very pretty. I remember our parents being very scared of us going out to the bog when they finally realized where we've been going all these years.
The Crystal Bog is located in close proximity to Crystal Lake. And although there's many bogs up in this area, this is the only one that you can walk right to the water's edge. As you can see, there's trees that grow right near the water's edge, but don't step onto the soggy ground. Make sure you stay right on the paths and the platforms. Otherwise, you might sink in to the earth and never come back.
Number 4 is probably obvious, but it is crystal clear water. And Crystal Lake is not just a clever name. The water really is crystal clear here. And part of the reason why is because it's rain-fed. Also, no motorboats are allowed on Crystal Lake, which keeps down the pollution. Crystal Lake reminds me of the Caribbean, and I just think it's so neat to have a little piece of paradise right here in Wisconsin at Crystal Lake. Coming in at number 3 is the 3 sand bottom beaches. Here we see the first beach, which is known as the private beach. This beach is for campers only, but there's also 2 other public beaches on Crystal Lake. This one you see here is what they call the grass beach, but it still has a sand bottom. And then there's the public beach near the front gate. 3 beaches coming in at number 3. At number 2, we have the rock pile. The rock pile is a big pile of rocks right off the grass beach. Actually, it's about 200 feet in from the grass beach. It's simply a log cabin kind of built underwater that's filled up with rocks. And you can swim out there with your friends and family and stand on the rocks and kind of check out the shore. At number 2, the rock pile. Stick around for number 1.
All right, as promised, I'm going to give you tips on how to get the best sites at Crystal Lake Campground. Now, this might seem a little shady, but it's not, because it's really the rules of the system. And speaking of the rules, we're going to talk about the 3 rules of the Wisconsin State Forest System on how to get reservations. Rule number 1 is you have 11 months in advance that you can book up to. Rule number 2 is you can only book up to 14 days. And rule number 3 is anybody that currently has a reservation on the site is the only one that can extend the days of that reservation. Now, keeping this in mind, let's say you want this site, 482, for July 15th, 2024. And the park opens, let's say, May 7th, 2024. Well, on June 7th of 2023, you would go into the system and you would book 2 weeks at this site from May 7th to May 21st. After a week goes by, you're going to cancel the first 7 days and you're going to extend the site another 7 days. And you continue this process over and over as the week goes by. Now, each time that you cancel, it's going to charge you $7.50, and that's going to add up. It's probably going to cost about $60. But as you cancel and extend 7 days at a time, over and over again, eventually you're going to get to your July 15th, 2024, and you're going to end up getting the site that you want at Crystal Lake. This has been a tip for you on how to get the best sites at Crystal Lake Campground.
At number 1, we have the drop-off. I took this picture and put an arrow there to show the abrupt color difference in water due to the change of depth. And the drop-off is a sudden angle difference on the lake floor that's approximately 60 feet from the shore. Now, what I did is I took my iPhone camera, I aimed it towards the shore, I put it underwater, and now I'm rotating 180 degrees. What I'm trying to do is show the difference of the angle from the shoreline to the drop-off point, and then from the drop-off point down. As you can see, as I'm rotating 180 degrees, the lake floor slowly starts disappearing and it gets deeper and deeper. Now, as I was a kid, I always wanted to know the angle difference between the shore and the drop-off. So what I did is I got out my tape measure and I did measure, and I found that approximately 4 degrees is the angle from the shore to the drop-off point, and approximately 38 degrees is from the drop-off point on. So now you know.
Hey, you made it to the bonus part of the video. I'm going to attempt to swim across Crystal Lake the long way. Now, I am overweight and I am out of shape, so this might be a little dangerous. But I think we should get the show on the road and see what happens. Let's roll. like we're doing the same thing, huh? Hey there, folks. I'm about halfway there. And if you look down, it is really, really dark blue. It's pretty scary to know how deep this water is and try to swim across it. All right, I'm halfway there. I'll see you on the other side. Whew. I made it. I'm a bit surprised too. Probably because in my lifetime I had more birthdays than days spent at the gym. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and thanks for watching.